Hi everyone, my name is John, and my friend Alex and I have been talking about starting a podcast for a while. And we decided with this whole coronavirus going on, Miss Rona, um, there's no better time to start than right now. So we recorded an episode about us talking about the David Tennant era of Doctor Who, since this is Alex's first time watching Doctor Who. It's a little rough, still figuring everything out, still looking into equipment to get. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. Give us any feedback or anything, and thank you for listening. So yeah, I don't know how to start a podcast type thing, but I mean, an awkward start is as good as any.
Podcast, take one.
Right. But yeah, hi, people who may or may not listen to this. My name's Sean. I'm a nerd. And yeah.
My name is Alex, and I am also a nerd, so...
Alright, cool. So this is, I guess, a little trial run for this thing that I kind of want to do and start. So yeah, we're going to talk about your experience with Doctor Who so far.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess, first off, how are you enjoying the show?
A lot more than I thought it would.
Mm-hmm.
I remember back in, I guess it was, around high school age when it started becoming popular with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And, they'd be so hyped about it, and I'm like...
Hey.
What is BBC? What is that station? I don't know. And then watching it now, I'm like, holy shit. What am I missing?
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of, I guess, had the same reaction. I watched it, actually, this is going to make me sound like such a hipster. I watched it before it got popular, so cool. But no, it was, I've told you this story, but it was, around my 13th birthday. And I was over my other friend Alex's house. That's going to get confusing. But I was over his house, and he was just like, hey, have you ever heard the show Doctor Who? I was like, no, what is that? No. And then he showed me the cover for series 3, and I saw David Tennant, who I knew from Harry Potter at that point. And I was like, oh, sure, I'll watch, whatever, we can watch an episode. And we watched Tooth and Claw, the werewolf episode. My very first episode, and fell in love, automatically. And then we watched School Reunion. And then, yeah, I became Doctor Who trash.
Doctor Who trash?
Listen, I feel like the term Whovian was good when I was in high school, but now that I'm 24, I'm a Whovian. So
Sounds like you're from Whoville.
No, none of that. But yeah, I mean, so I guess that sort of answers my both original questions. I guess I could also ask what did you expect from the show really?
A lot. I didn't think I would be invested in it that much. So I'm like, this is just a campy, jokey. I didn't think it was going to be as serious or as hard hitting as some episodes are. I went into it thinking okay, cool. I don't know what to expect with this, but my expectations are not to be rude, but are kind of low. I'm like, this is I've seen commercials for it. It's campy. It's sci-fi. All the things I love, but I was I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. And then you showed the first episode that I watched was the one that you showed me, Blink.
Blink, yeah.
Which was, I had no idea that Doctor Who did scary things, and I had never been so genuinely scared of a TV show.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, okay, so we're sleeping with the lights on, and I'm just not sleeping tonight. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, no, okay. So, for reference, Alex has only watched the Russell T Davies era so far. So we just got finished watching David Tennant's Regeneration. Great episode. But yeah, so that's where we are right now in my rewatch, Alex's first rewatching of it. So I mean, I guess we could just start. Also, I'm gonna get dragged for this, but it happened. We kind of skipped 9. Sorry about it. I don't have the first series on DVD or Blu-ray. We watched a couple episodes on Amazon, but I didn't buy the whole season. But we watched important episodes like Dalek. We watched what's the one with the first one? The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances with Jack. And then I showed him clips and stuff from Bad Wolf and The Parting of the Ways, which again I know I'm gonna get dragged by Doctor Who fans, but like it happened. He skipped 9. He knows who 9 is though. So I guess we could start with series 2 with Rose. Think back a little far. I guess we'll start with that. What are your thoughts on Miss Rose Tyler?
I mean, I enjoyed Rose, but like I think thinking back to our conversation at the end of the David Tennant saga season series era. At the end of that era, you know, we had a conversation about everything, and like I think you put it best. Like Rose is nice, but like I don't understand why she has such like a connection to the Doctor. She's sweet. Yeah. She's beautiful. She does a great acting job. But like, I didn't feel like a pull towards her. Like when she in season 2, you know, at the end, spoiler alert, when she goes into the parallel universe and gets stuck there, I'm kind of like, cool. Who's next? Right. Like I was so excited for the next person, and then they did the next person. I love the next person.
Yeah. Rose she is by far my least favorite companion in the Revival series. And like again, like you said, like Billie Piper did a phenomenal job. I love Billie Piper. Billie Piper is a phenomenal actress, incredibly talented, gorgeous, like you said. But Rose Tyler as a character, and I think Russell T Davies wrote her this way on purpose, but I mean, I don't really like her. Rose is extremely selfish. The way she treats Mickey is awful in my personal opinion. And like the again, something that I've mentioned with series 1, but how she goes off, travels with the Doctor, Mickey's left alone for a year without her, and is accused of murdering her, and then like her reaction to getting all of that information is just like, oh, like, I'm sorry. And then like again, Mickey tells her that he tried to move on, and she gets mad at him and is like, oh, you don't even like the woman who he went on a date with, Trisha Delaney, I think that's her name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But it's just like it's those type of behaviors, and she also cheats on him while she is traveling with the Doctor, and then in series 2 she continues to string him along, and it's just I understand that Rose is the first companion for a lot of people. A lot of people have a lot of you know, emotional connections to her, but I do not like Rose as a character, and those are just my own feelings.
Yeah, and then she came back for as supposed to, was it the season
4 finale? Well, yeah, all throughout season 4, but yeah, really the season 4 finale.
When she came back, they positioned her to be like this badass, you know, she's like, all right, I'm gonna be the one that helps the Doctor and is a savior, and then like, okay, cool, and then she just does nothing, and I'm like, nothing. Yeah. So why are you here?
Right. It's like it's and this is it's also another issue I have with Rose, is that Rose sort of has no real growth outside of the Doctor. It's Rose's entire character arc from season 2 until season 4 is really just like, oh, I'm with the Doctor. Oh no, I'm not with the Doctor. I want to get back to the Doctor. I'm back with the Doctor. Yeah. And it's just like her entire thing is just hinging around her not becoming her own person outside of the Doctor, but just her as the Doctor's companion and love interest. And it's like, again, like she saves Donna's mom and her grandfather from the Dalek and everything like that. And like you said, they set her up as this badass woman. But as soon as she's back with the Doctor, she's back to being passive.
And like I'm just here to love the Doctor and to be his faithful companion, be here with him forever because I'm in love with him, which is a whole other thing. But
yeah.
But anyways, season 2, like honestly I don't even like remember like the big thing with season 2. Like, what is like the big
there wasn't actually with season 2 there wasn't really such a huge overarching story like there was with season 3 and 4. There were passing mentions of like, oh, Rose is gonna die, or like there's a storm coming, and then Rose being like, oh, I'm gonna be with you forever, and then she isn't. But there is no real sense of, there's no Harold Saxon, there's no the bees are disappearing or the stars are going out, etc., etc., etc. It's just like, I'm gonna be with you forever, and then she's not.
I guess that's why why it wasn't like the most memorable thing for me. Like, not that it wasn't a good season in and of itself. It's just like, I think because we've watched the last season 3 and 4, like we've been binging those. I love the fact that they sewed so many things throughout the story to be like, you're like, oh, you remember literally in the first episode they're like, the bees are disappearing. It's
right.
Like, why are they disappearing? That makes no sense.
Yeah. Then I remember when you like first watching that, first watching that, and your like face when Donna mentioned it, you were just like, huh, that's weird. And then like I just sort of like looked at you and smiled and was like, oh, he's got no idea.
Of course they did. Okay, yeah, they're disappearing in the real world too. I guess they're just bringing that into the story for whatever reason.
But yeah, no. So it's like, and it's I think series 2 has a lot of great standalone stories, and great characters as well. Like with I love Jackie Tyler, I love Mickey, and I love Mickey's growth and Jackie's growth and everything like that. But I feel like Rose is such a stagnant companion. But yeah, after series 2, then we get the Christmas special with Donna for the first time. With the Christmas invasion, with the spider.
Yeah, with the spider.
Right, right.
She's creepy. That was creepy.
That alien. Especially with someone with arachnophobia, like me. Woo, love that episode. But I mean, I like that episode for how it ties into Donna's story later down the line, which was probably not necessarily intended, because at that point they didn't know that Catherine Tate was going to come back for series 4. But seeing how they weave that story into later seasons and later arcs, I really, really like. And that's why I like that episode so much in retrospect, because I feel like on its own it's kind of like as many Christmas specials are, but it's kind of inconsequential episode.
Yeah.
But then after Christmas, we get Martha, series 3, Miss Martha Jones. Thoughts on Miss Martha Jones?
I loved Miss Martha. Martha was the first companion that I actually felt like a connection and drawn towards, and like the fact that we went from, again, sorry, this isn't meant to be a diss towards Rose, but like the fact that we went from Rose, who was just basically like helpless when the Doctor wasn't there, to someone who was just like, I can handle whatever you throw my way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what, it's gonna take me a second because I'm still a human and I'm still like, baffled by all this, but like, I am a soon-to-be doctor, I know what I'm doing, I have a competent head on my shoulders, so like, just like the vast difference.
Yeah. And
then even right up to like, how like, she left and stopped being his companion, I enjoy that. I enjoy that better than a drawn-out companion who like, it takes up half the show because it's not Doctor Who and the companion, it's Doctor Who, and you get like a season or two of like a really cool companion. And I feel like with the fact that she was falling for him, I enjoyed that because like, who wouldn't?
Right.
Like, who wouldn't fall in love with a person that's like, I'm going to take you away from your boring life here on Earth, and I'm going to show you the stars. Like, of course you're going to fall in love with that person if they're, an attractive individual.
Right.
And like, but I like the fact that they didn't stretch that out. They were like, no, she's realizing it. She's recognizing that she's falling in love with the idea of this person. Yeah. And that she's never going to have this person. And for her own personal sanity, she's going to be like, all right, I've seen it. I'm going to make my life here on Earth better for it.
Yeah. Martha is by far one of the most underrated companions. And I remember back when I was first a Doctor Who, became a Doctor Who fan at first, like, nobody really liked Martha. Like, nobody really... because it was like we were only like 2-3 years out from Martha, and everybody was still stuck on Rose, the same way the Doctor was, you know what I mean? Everybody was still stuck on Rose and the Doctor and Rose's relationship or whatever, and I remember people being so annoyed at Martha and her being upset about constantly being compared to Rose. And, like, people would be annoyed at the fact that, like, whenever the Doctor was like, oh, I wish Rose was here, or the comments that she made when, like, Jack came back, and she was just like, oh, good old Rose, and stuff like that. People were, like, upset at those, but it's just, like, if you meet someone, right, whether you're in a romantic relationship with them or not, and you're striking up a friendship, relationship, or whatever with this person, they're constantly like, dang, you're great, but I really miss my friend over there who I can't see anymore. Think about it like as a
first date.
Right.
Like, if you were on a first date with somebody,
exactly.
And they were just like, and they just kept droning on about their ex-partner.
Their ex, right. You know, it's just like...
Okay, great, but, like...
What about this? I'm right here. Like, hi. And it's just... It is interesting seeing the fandom sort of shift towards Martha, because I feel like a lot more people have... I don't want to say come around to Martha, because Martha's always been... phenomenal, but I feel like people have gotten sort of out of the, excuse the pun, rose-tinted glasses with Rose, and sort of have really been able to see the merits that Martha gives, and have seen how she is a fantastic companion and character of her own right, and like I just love Martha so much, her intelligence, her having to deal with all of the shit that the Doctor put her through, because, like, we were talking about this when we watched the Family of Blood and Human Nature, where it's like the Doctor could have chosen all of these different time periods to become human in, and, like, he chose 1913, an era rampant with racism, with his one black companion, and was just like, you know what, she'll be like my housemaid or my servant, and then she's just gonna have to deal with the racism, and then also look after me and make sure that I'm safe.
Like, okay. You couldn't go at some point into the future,
right?
Or, like, some point in the distant future where everything is equal,
right? Like, it's. But seeing how she took it all in stride, and how she made every situation. How she turned every situation, and you know what I'm trying to say. I can't even, like, get it out right now. Like,
how she just even with the odds stacked against her in an episode,
right.
She found a way through. Like, that was the one thing that I really liked about Martha, is that, like, nothing, even literal racism and, like, indentured servitude kind of thing. She was just like, nah, fuck you, mate. I need to fix the Doctor.
Right.
I'm here for the Doctor, and that's it.
Right.
Like, I don't care about your racism. I don't care what you have to say, how you're gonna badmouth me. I don't care that he's falling in love with you.
Right.
Boo-hoo.
Like,
he's the Doctor.
Right. That sucks, but, like, like you said, he's the Doctor, the world needs him. So it's just, God, I love Martha. And her coming back in Series 4 was honestly just icing on the cake, because we really got to see her outside of her pining after the Doctor, and you know, I don't want to say her jealousy with Rose, but her being frustrated that the Doctor was still stuck on Rose. We got to see her outside of all of that, and then still see how she took initiative of situations, how she was literally separated from the Doctor again, and was like, okay, I'm on this alien planet with this fish man thing, and I'm just going to, you know, take it all in stride and go on the planet of this, the surface of this volatile planet, and find the Doctor so I can get back to him and go home. Yeah,
like, she would balls to the wall right there. She was like, oh wait, like, no one's been on the surface. Check it out. What the fuck? What are we doing down here?
Right. Yeah. Sorry, God. I love Martha. And Series 3 also brought back Captain Jack Harkness. So thoughts on Captain Jack?
A man. And I apologize to my boyfriend who is currently listening from the couch, but I think we can all agree in this household.
Yes.
That like a man.
Yes.
And like. Let's be honest, like, if he was the Doctor,
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely 110% understand, every companion falling head over heels for them.
Yeah.
It would not make sense otherwise.
Yeah.
I'm not saying David Tennant and Matt Smith, who
Right.
we're currently going to get into,
Right.
aren't attractive.
Right.
But, like...
Yeah. John Barrowman is a very attractive man.
Yeah. And it's just funny because, like, he plays it well. And one of my favorite things about, like, this show that, like, I've noticed is, like, the little lines, the small lines. Like, every time Jack meets someone, like, he's like, oh, hello. And the Doctor's like, Jack, not now.
Stop it.
Like, stop it. Don't go. Like, it's just a funny relationship.
Yeah.
And I kind of... I don't know. He's a fun character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I enjoy... having a consistent character that like is like visits every once in a while,
right.
and like you're like, all right, cool. That their intention is
right.
like, to either sleep with somebody there or save the universe. And,
right.
Like, simple man.
Why not both? Right. Oh, I forgot to mention Sarah Jane Smith, who was in Series 2, Tooth and Claw, a classic companion who came back, met the current Doctor with David Tennant, and sort of struck up a relationship. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, struck up a relationship with the new current Doctor, and Elizabeth Sladen, who is now passed on, rest in peace, did a phenomenal job playing her, and bringing back that little bit of classic nugget and classic energy into the modern era. As somebody who has not seen classic era Doctor Who, and not really seen Sarah Jane in the classic series, how do you feel like the series introduced her? Do you think they introduced her well? Like, do you think they gave her enough sort of, I guess, quote unquote backstory with?
I mean, I went into the show knowing kind of what it was,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of knew that there was going to be, that there was more than likely going to be a character or several that like come back from, the like, I guess like the original series.
Yeah.
Is the best way to call it, the original series?
Classic series.
Yeah. So like with that in mind, like when she was introduced, I was just like, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't particularly remember having any gripes with like how they introduced her. I just kind of remember being like, who's this?
Yeah.
And then like, within like the next few minutes, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is who she is. She's a companion from the classic Doctor
Right.
Who, and here she is, and she's a badass. So enjoy her. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, cool. Good for me. I enjoy her.
Yeah, no, Sarah Jane is widely known in the Doctor Who fandom as the series' best companion, period, like overall. And I had sort of gotten that feeling because I loved Sarah Jane when when I first saw her on the new series, and I just loved her energy and her relationship with the Doctor and her, again, initiative with every situation that she was in. And then I went back. I watched a couple episodes of her spinoff, The Sarah Jane Adventures, which we watched 2 episodes of with the Doctor. And seeing her in that with like Ronnie, Clyde, Luke, and all of those people, and her gang there, and seeing again her initiative and how she built a life without the Doctor, but still wanted to have these adventures and things like that. And then I went back and watched some episodes with her in the classic series, and like watching her relationship with the 4th Doctor and things like that. And I just loved her energy, and I really want to go back and watch more episodes with her and the 4th Doctor, and even some with the 3rd Doctor. But yeah, she is widely known in the fandom as the best companion ever. And she is, I mean, not, if we're talking about overall, like, classic Who and Doctor Who, she is probably my favorite companion overall. And I miss Elizabeth Sladen dearly. But yeah, so... Yeah, going on from Series 3 and Martha Jones, lovely Martha Jones. Series 4 with Donna.
Donna Noble.
Feelings about Miss Noble.
I will say that, like, even though as I mentioned before, I did enjoy how Martha left the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
When they showed that it was Donna, I was like, "There's no one I'd rather be the next companion after her," because like it was the Adipose episode, right? And in my mind's eye, I like the scene vividly where they're like mouthing to each other.
The iconic scene.
And then, like the nanny is just like, are we interrupting you? Just like, from that point on, I was like, okay, I'm gonna enjoy this because like she may not be. I don't want to diss on her skills, but like she may not be to the same level that Martha was. Martha, I think, had the best head on her of the companions I've seen so far. Right. Rose, Donna, and Martha. Like, but that's because like she was a soon to be doctor, and she was like almost like the young matriarch of her family. Like everyone came to her with the problem, so like you knew she was gonna have a level head. Right. And then you go to Donna, who's like kind of like this. She hopes to marry rich, kind of her person, which is like like good for you, girl. You marry rich and you get your money, go. But like, I was just like, all right, cool. Like I remember her. She wasn't like that like that great in like the first time meeting her. Like like you can tell that she had a connection with the doctor, and like she pulled him back in that episode with the spider alien. Yeah. But watching her grow and becoming more confident with herself throughout like the whole season is what really kind of made me sad when she eventually like every companion is was written off, and how she had to forget about all of her adventures because like she learned how to love herself and be confident in herself through the doctor. And like, yes, I understand that like the doctor, they even said it in the show, the doctor shows how brilliant each of his companions are, but like that was like the main theme that stuck with me. The motif, I guess that's the best word. Is like it's like her every episode, like just slowly getting more confident. I remember Pompeii. Oh, the Pompeii episode, like who are you to decide that or something like that? And it's like timeline. He's like, Donna, human, no, and like that's like
timeline. Yeah, Donna, human, no.
It's like yes, I loved her character, and like. I have absolutely zero complaints about her character.
Yeah, no, Donna is my second favorite after the companion you're about to be introduced to. And she, like you said, her growth and her character arc is probably one of my favorites in the show so far. Because she learns to love herself, become more confident in herself, and realizes that she is smarter than what she gives herself credit for. And I mean, exactly. I was about to say, when you have somebody in your life who is so emotionally abusive, like her mother is emotionally abusive, period, who constantly keeps telling her, like, you're nothing special, you are not smart, you're stupid, like, you are a failure in all of these different ways, of course you're going to get down on yourself. Of course you're going to sit there and be like, yeah, no, I'm not, you're right, I'm not special. Like, I am not intelligent, etc., etc., etc. And then she had the doctor come into her life and show her the thing that I loved about her and the doctor's relationship is that the doctor didn't particularly do anything to show her how brilliant she was, except for reaffirm her and the things that she was already doing. Because like just the simple moment of like when after the Metacrisis doctor is born, the doctor with one heart, and she's asking him, she's just like, oh, like why was this heartbeat converging on me? I'm nothing special. And he's just like, oh, but you are. Like in his mind, in the doctor's mind, like, of course Donna's special, of course she's brilliant, of course she's intelligent, like these are all things that she should already know because the doctor can see it so clearly. Yeah. But then, since he also has parts of Donna, he's able to see
the doubt
and the fear, and all how and why she is so down on herself. And he's like tries to tell her, like, look at what you did. Like, simply just by being you, like, I'm here. You created me. And I love their relationship so much, and that's why like her ending breaks my heart, and the fact that she is reverted to essentially the person that she was before.
Yeah, that is like the ultimate saddest.
Yeah, it is heartbreaking.
And her mother goes right back to the emotional abuse, which is just like, and okay, like if there's anyone that wants to defend the mothers of this show, which I doubt that there are, given what you've told me from the fandom, but like if you. I would like to remind everyone of just the scene where at the end of the 4th season, right?
Yeah.
Where they're going off to the labor camps, and all like the people that are not white and English are getting sent to the labor camps. She goes back into the house, and it's just like, it's all my fault, isn't it, to her mother? And mother just goes, yeah. And I'm like, you literally, see, really? I was just dumbstruck by how mean that was.
Yeah.
Because you didn't even need to say anything.
Yeah.
Like, you could have just been like, kept your mouth shut and thought it to yourself and been like, let's talk about this for a second, though, because, like, it was your fault. Right. Because you said turn right.
Right.
Okay, sorry. I digress.
And it's I love that the Doctor calls her out on it at the end of the season when he's like, for one moment in the universe, for one moment, Donna was the most important person in the universe. And then her mom goes, well, she still is. She's my daughter. And the Doctor's like, well, maybe you should tell that to her for once in a while.
But that felt like it had, like, nothing.
Nothing happens with that.
Like, I would have loved to see in, like, the David Tennant specials.
Right.
I would have loved to see, like, him visiting and, like, seeing... Or even in a conversation with the grandfather, like, you know, like, oh, their relationship has improved so much. They're, like, being besties now.
Right.
Or something like that. Or, like, at least being civil at all times. But no, they were literally making quips at each other every chance they got.
Like, literally, when Donna buys her a present or whatever, she's just like, yeah. She's like, Donna's like, do you like it? And Sophie's like, yeah. Did you keep the receipt? And it's like... You can't even just, like, keep something that you don't like, but, like, your daughter got it for you out of, like, love in her heart for Christmas, and you're just like, I'm gonna take it back. It's like, come on now. But yeah, so, I mean, like, talking about the specials, did you get any sense that David Tennant was about to regenerate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, just, like... Even if it wasn't, like, the show giving me, you know, clues, it was the fact that these were now called David Tennant specials. Right. And I'm like, okay. So, because, like, in my mind, I'm, like, just, like, as someone who knows that, like, the process is a lot more than, like, oh, we're going to film something and there's a show.
Right.
Like, all right, usually a successful show is not going to, like... go from, like, having 12 episodes a season to, like, having just 4 unless they are trying to set up for something you know, that's going to be coming, and they're focusing more of their writing on that next thing that's happening, you know. And I'm like, they wouldn't really be having to struggle this much if it was David Tennant, because now they like, he was already established character, you already know what he's going to be kind of doing, and you know the route that you want to go with it, you know. And then I kind of knew, like, I didn't, like, know until like the Master started coming back at the end of it. I was like, okay, yeah, no, this is definitely a thing that's happening. Yeah. But, like, literally from, like, the moment I think it was, like, one of the Ood showing up.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, you're, like, you know, he'll knock 4 times.
Yeah.
literally every time that they did 4, I knew that they were fucking with you. But, like, and then at the end, when it was Wilfred, and he was like,
oh, that broke my heart.
I was like, God damn it, you survived! You survived so long! And then it's just like... Let me out. Why do you have to go in there, Wilfred?
Yeah, no, because I remember, this is probably going to be a lot of me talking about, I remember when. But no, because I remember when I started watching the show right when David announced that he was leaving. And he said, like, we're going to do 4 specials, and then, like, when it comes back in 2010, it's going to be with someone else. So I knew that, but it wasn't I don't think it was confirmed that the Master was coming back until maybe the Waters of Mars. But I knew... Oh, it's a terrifying episode. But I knew it was going to happen because the woman saying, like, oh, he will knock 4 times. And I was like, what is that doing? And then I sat there and was like, oh my God, the Master, okay.
I didn't even make that connection until, like, the Master made that connection. Right. Which, like, I another reason I love the show is like, sometimes you can't see things until they're, like...
right there in front of you. Yeah. But yeah, so, and I was trying to keep that a secret because I want to experience the show in a way where it's like, okay, you don't necessarily know when a regeneration's coming. For some doctors, it's going to be hard because, like, 10, again, it was kind of heavily foreshadowed. It's also heavily foreshadowed for another Doctor in the future. But, you know, I want to see if you can be surprised by a regeneration.
Yeah.
And what did you... Okay, The End of Time. Let's talk about The End of Time. Like, what did you think about it overall? Like,
that was the...
That was the... Watched, yeah, right? The 2 we just watched. Yeah.
I felt like it was one of their more rushed storylines, just because like we were talking about earlier, like you mentioned, there were a lot of a lot of the things that happened depended on coincidence. But aside from that, you could speak more on that because that was your brain baby. But like my thought was literally from the get-go was when the Master was being resurrected. That happened so quickly. I'm like, this is it's almost like you like wanted the Master to be back, but you didn't know how to write it in, and you just put it there. And like it's like, okay, cool. I'm cool that he's back, but like the fact that he was back, it didn't scare me as much as it did the first time. Right. When it was kind of like alluded to with I can't even remember the old man version of the Master.
Professor Yana.
Professor Yana. Yeah. What did that stand for?
You are not alone.
Yeah, you are not alone. Like that to me terrified me more than like the resurrection and everything like that, because like it was literally like, oh, here we're gonna resurrect you with his old biometrical signature that's coming off your lips from the last time he kissed you, which was, I don't know, at least a month ago.
Was longer than that, because Donna had to have left and been back, and the whole Harold Saxon thing was 2007. Donna was picked up in 2008.
see this whole show just kind of like gets fucked with my like perspective on time. So like, okay, so it's been a while. As like just like, you know, anyone who has studied any kind of biology at any point in time will know that skin cells, even if they are alien, human skin cells are going to regenerate. And the fact that like she was in prison, they pulled it off her, and like on the napkin was lipstick.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so she had lipstick on because she was a woman. Okay, cool, but she's in prison. What? And they're like, all right, cool, he's resurrected. And then all of a sudden, like, they're like, we've been planning for, like, the bad guys were like, we've been planning for this day. He knew that this would happen. And all of a sudden, she's like, I knew this was happening too. Guard, give me the potion, and threw it at her. I'm like, it was like just 5 whole minutes of like, what the fuck is happening? What is happening right now? And then like, okay, cool, it happened, and everything like that. But then like, my next biggest issue was I didn't understand what was his name? The guy who plays Martian Manhunter.
Joshua Naismith. Yeah.
Joshua Naismith.
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't explain how they came to be in possession of that big, the world-mending thing.
The Mortality Gate.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know who these people were. I didn't care who these people were. I would have much rather be like some rogue unit of Unit. Or like
offshoot of Torchwood or something like that. Yeah.
Like some like.
Actually, he does say like something like because I just remembered they mentioned Torchwood. He does say that once Torchwood fell. Oh, he says once Torchwood fell, let's just say I acquired it, and it's like, okay, cool.
How? What is your plan? I don't know. Like, it just was like as far as like finales go or whatever. I guess that really was
it's
the finale.
Technically a finale.
Like, it just. To me, it was lackluster, and like the only thing that it had like, you know, really tying me into it was the fact that like, all right, this is probably when he's going to rejuvenate or regenerate. Regenerate. This is when he's probably going to regenerate, and that's going to be coming soon. And like, even like the whole Time Lords coming back thing, that felt very rushed for like a series special. Like, they put it in the last 2 episodes, like I mentioned earlier. Like, I would have very much preferred like if they did like little clips at the end, like, you know, almost like a Marvel mid credit thing, like, you know, for like next stage, or like the very end, how they did it, how they set up for David Tennant getting hit by the Titanic, how they did it like that, where like all you would have had to do was like, you know, someone's finger like going like the Oracle, the visionary person. You could have done that at one episode, and then the next episode you had that. But then like all of a sudden, I think it was the second to last episode, you see who's been narrating it, but you're like, who the heck is this guy? And then the fourth one, like, President of the Time Lords, and we're all gonna fuck shit up. And it's like, okay, cool. I felt like this could have had a whole story arc to it, and it's just
I think it would have been better set up even if like if they either had the tapping or like just having Rassilon narrating at least like the end of the previous specials. Like at the Planet of the Dead, they're just like have something be like, and with that warning, the Doctor's life was coming to, or something, you know what I mean? Like something where it's just like, okay, who's talking, like who
gets you questioning,
right?
Gets you wondering
and it's
where
just
this is
like,
coming
okay,
from.
this is going somewhere, and then like have him be narrating the entire first episode, End of Time Part 1, and then the end, like all the Time Lords are returning. But then like even then, like they don't really do anything with it. So a thing that I'm gonna mention 2 issues that I have with Russell T Davies and specials. First issue is that I feel like Russell T Davies he's good at setting up overarching plot lines, but when you actually get to the finale, there's no real variety to his finales. Like season 1, the big ending villain is the Daleks.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to season 2, and oh no, it's the Cybermen. Actually, JK, it's the Daleks again. Series 3, okay, cool. The Master's back. Awesome. That's interesting. Wonderful. And then Series 4, cool. Davros is back, but it's another Dalek finale. And then the end of the finale, like the end of the specials, the Master's back again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like there's that issue where there's no real like, yeah, they're different stories, but like, you know, with Russell T Davies, you're either getting a Dalek finale or you're getting a Master finale. And then another issue that I have is that the only season finale that does not end in some sort of Deus Ex Machina is Series 2. And even then, like, the Daleks being sucked back into the void is kind of also a Deus Ex Machina. Like, if you think about it, Season 1, you have a literal Deus Ex Machina, like a god coming in with Rose, like inside of Rose, and being like, okay, I'm gonna wipe all the Daleks away, and like we're fine now. And then the Doctor regenerates. There's nothing that really the Doctor does to stop the Daleks. That's another thing. Like, if you actually think about the finales, the Doctor doesn't really do anything to save the day. It's usually just like. There's season 2 where like, yeah, he's like, okay, we can do this, we can reverse the polarity. I'll explain later. We'll reverse the like polarity of the void, so like all the Daleks and the Cybermen will get sucked in and the void will close in and on itself. Okay, cool. The Doctor did that. But then Series 3, another Deus Ex Machina, with the Doctor essentially literally becoming like Jesus. And then like, you remember like all the people think his name, and then he sort of like
rejuvenates.
Yeah, rejuvenates kind of in that sense, because it wasn't a regeneration, but he essentially like becomes Jesus, and like floats over to the Master and is like, hey, stop, forgive you. And then Jack destroys the paradox machine, and then everything gets reversed. So another Deus Ex Machina. And then in season 4, the Donna gets shot with Time Lord energy, and she sort of becomes the Dr. Donna, which is like supposed to be this not all powerful but like all knowing sort of Time Lord human hybrid, which is kind of again a Deus Ex Machina. And then the Metacrisis Doctor destroys all the Daleks, and then in the End of Time, I mean, it's not necessarily a Deus Ex Machina because it's set up, but the Time Lords are really only there to reverse what the Master did and then go back into the Time War. You know what I mean? And it's like that's sort of like all of Russell T Davies's finales. It's just sort of like it always seems to be just like, hey, so we have this big world-ending, universe-ending issue, but then something happens, and then another thing happens, and then everything is saved. Okay, we're done. And it's like, great setup, but the payoff isn't really great. So
I think the specials, the specials finale is, I think the reason I don't like it so much is because it exemplifies that in the worst way.
Yeah.
Like, it literally felt like the specials were just that. Like, they're like, it's almost as if you could have been like, all right, these are non-canonical adventures of him, because it's like there was no real consequence. I felt more consequence with the Mars one. What's it called? The
Waters of Mars.
The Waters of Mars.
Yeah.
I felt more consequence with that one episode.
Yeah.
Than I came even close to with the finale. And I'm like, this is supposed to be a finale. This is supposed to be like, all right, cool. I was expecting the Doctor to go out with a bang. Yeah. Kind of thing. Yeah. And it was like, all right. Yeah. And then the Time Lords came, okay, cool. There wasn't really a consequence to it, except, now we don't know what's happened to the Master after that. Right. We don't know if the Time Lords are ever going to come back again, kind of thing. Right, yeah. Which, again, I'm like, with his writing, he's really good at setting up stories, like you said. And it's just sad that, like, the Time Lords coming back was squished into basically 2 episodes. Yeah, yeah. With foreshadowing in the episodes that came before it. Right. Yeah. Yeah, so that's that. Like, I as a regeneration episode, for multiple reasons, I like The End of Time is not one of my favorites. Again, how it classifies and talks about regeneration, like you said, the rushed sort of nature of the entire thing. But I mean, so okay. With the Master, I need to get better at segues, but that'll come with time. What are your thoughts on the Master, I guess, in general, initial, like... So, okay, let's start from the beginning with the Professor Yana reveal. I was terrified. Yeah. Okay, so... Having friends back in high school, middle school, whenever, like, that were into the show, like, I would see things, like, on Facebook or Tumblr at the time, good lord. Obviously, so, like, I wasn't a stranger to the concept of the Master. I just knew that he was a bad guy. And he was the bad guy kind of thing. Like, I knew that he was the nemesis to him. So, like, as soon as, like, I didn't suspect that, like, the other Time Lord was the Master. I was like, all right, cool. This is a cool storyline. Right. It's going to be, different than that. Yeah. And then, like, he opens it and, like, literally starts hearing the... Yeah. And starts, displaying that he's actually crazy. And I'm like, wait a second. Yes! Wait a second. Hold up. I'm not ready for this. Hold on. And then he's just, like, he regenerates. And I forget if he says it first or if David Tennant says it first. No, he says, like, I am the Master. When he said that, I was like, bitch. How? Okay. And then it was just... I remember his introduction more than I do like the next like episode. Yeah. But then he's in, like, and then you dive into him more, and I just kind of love the way that actor did the Master, because I don't know, I have not seen the classic Who, so I have no idea who, like, how the Master was played before, but I kind of liked his, like, he's actually off the rails, batshit crazy kind of thing, and he's, like, enjoying every second of it, but also hating it at the same time. Like, he did such a good job of playing, like, the duality, the bipolarism that is the Master, because, like, he is a Time Lord, so, like, he can see all this happening just the same as the Doctor, but he is, like you said, the opposite side, the flip side of the coin of the Doctor. Like, he's like, I can see all this happening. And I want to make it work. Yeah. And it's just like, oh no. Yeah. Because I remember when Martha was talking about, like, the Fall Watch and everything, and you let out this, like, happy guess. We're like, oh, he's another Time Lord. And then I was just like, yup. I was so excited at first. I was like, oh, cool. We have another Time Lord. It's going to be like, we're going to be traveling together as the Doctors and a companion. And then he's like, I am not. Yeah. Like, and it was when he was like, the drums, the never-ending drum beat, open view, human fool. You were like, oh no. Like, oh no. Oh no. Oh shit. Talking mushrooms. But yeah, no. The way Johnson, Derek Jacobi, the man who played Professor Yana, does a really good job at, like, setting up and sort of bridging the gap from classic Master to new Who Master, because he didn't play the Master in the classic series, but the Master was more like how Derek Jacobi played him in the classic series, a little bit more mustache twirly villain, right? Like, like those classic sci-fi, like, like, oh, I'm going to kill you, Doctor, and steal all of your regenerations and blah, all this other stuff.
At least from what I've seen. I haven't seen Roger Delgado play it, but Anthony Ainley, I think Anthony Ainley is the one that went up against most of the Doctors. But yeah, he's a lot more mustache twirly villain. But he was a little bit more composed the way Professor Yana was before he regenerated into John Sims' master. And then like seeing the transition from like this sort of very composed insanity that still has a lot of rage inside of him, to just like someone who's off the walls.
I'm just gonna spread this like wildfire.
Exactly, like I'm gonna watch the whole entire world burn, and everything like that. It's wonderful, and the way him and David Tennant play off of each other.
Yeah,
is really,
I love their
good.
relationship, which like I know the Master's gonna come back,
right.
and I'm just excited to see future regenerations of the Doctor and the Master. And I know I can tell that I'm gonna love this.
Yeah.
You know, anytime those characters are together, I'm gonna find a way to love it because they have such an interesting relationship.
Yeah.
But taking a little step back, that's I think another reason. Okay, in case you can't tell, I really did not like the End of Time too. I feel like they could have done a whole story arc with it. I don't know why. Maybe I'll have to rewatch it, and probably will at some point rewatch all this. But like, I didn't like the Master as much in it. Like, I was just like, you feel like you're just there. Yeah. You feel like I don't feel terrified from you anymore. I don't feel a threatening thing from you. Yeah. You're there. You can shoot lightning now. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Why? How? No. I think the End of Time it left a bad taste in my mouth with David Tennant's era, unfortunately.
I think they went a little bit too camp with the Master in the End of Time. I mean, I've talked to you about it. I hate the whole idea of like, I can smell when another Time Lord is in my vicinity. Like, that's
what the fuck?
That's stupid. That's really stupid. But
it'd make more sense if you could hear it with the
purpose. Right, exactly. But I feel like they took him a little bit too overboard with the writing. And John Sim did like what he could with what he was given. Yeah, he was great. But I just feel like Russell went a little bit too, too, like I said, too campy with it. And it is unfortunate that is the last sort of interaction that that version of the Doctor and that version of the Master had together. But let's talk about the future.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I am very excited. Like I'm excited. Like I love sitting here and talking about this, but I'm excited to be done this so we can eat some dinner and watch more because like I'm excited. I want to see how the Ood do. I want to see where the Ood go from here. I want to see how the Master comes back. I want to see how they're gonna come back. How the freaking Daleks come back. I want to know. How that is also, like you were saying before, that is one thing that I hope. Who's the next writer?
Stephen Moffat.
I hope that he can kind of refrain from using. Cause I feel like the main villains have been Cybermen, Daleks. Yeah. The Master. Yeah. Which is cool. Right. Like, you need your central villains, but like I feel like I want to see other villains. Like I love the episodes where it's like the Waters of Mars, because like that's a unique alien. Yeah. You don't even know anything by the end of it, like what they are, what they want. Yeah. You just know that they gotta go. Bye. Yeah. And then like the episode where you literally meet he meets the devil. Yeah. Like, that is so. I love Doom. That's so cool. But like I want to see like, all right, cool. Do we ever see that kind of thing happen? Yeah. The witches. The witches. I love the unique villains of each that are contained stories, and like I like the fact that I'm terrible with names. The one that we've been watching, the writer for those.
Russell T Davies. Yeah,
Russell T Davies. I love. He did such a great job, like you said, of setting up for like the villains at the end. But like when they revealed them, and it was just like, the Daleks.
Oh, the Daleks again. Okay, cool. Like Steven is really good at creating modern day classics. And that is something that I will say is that I can see you loving some of the aliens that do come up, and some of the newer aliens that are created and that we see. Is there any other plot lines or anything that you want to see in the future that you're curious about?
You're asking me to see if I can predict something that you know is going to happen, aren't you? Right now?
Well, not necessarily, but
I'm trying to think of like anything specific. I know that the Doctor are going to come back at some point. I know that the Cybermen are going to come back at some point. Which I'm okay with, I guess, at some point. I'm trying to think of other, like, I think that my most favorite thing is the Master. Like, that's the thing I'm looking forward to the most. Yeah. Seeing how they're going to come back around. Right. Or I want to see maybe, I don't know, things. I don't know if they're going to show them, but like things that like David Tennant mentioned in like the last episode of like, but like the Nightmare Child and things like that. Like I'm like, I want to kind of see these big bad villains that you hear about and through just like one line of the entire series. You hear one line, you're like, all right, cool. Okay, I want to see these places. I want to know about the Diamond Waterfalls. I just remember that episode. Midnight. That was such a cool episode. Because one thing that I want to like mention before this is all over is like the one thing that I was honestly surprised about was the acting of this. Oh god. Because like I'm like I grew up watching, crappy, sci-fi things and supernatural teen dramas like Teen Wolf and things like that are campy. Right. But like, usually it's the acting that brings it out, brings it out like the graveyard or like yes, it's campy, but like look at this acting. Right. And that's what Doctor Who does for me. Yeah. Like I was just baffled by how can you take yourself seriously when you're starting a sentence with Chan and ending it with Tho? But she did it so freaking well that I'm like,
yeah, and that is something that like continues to be a thing throughout the Stephen Moffat era, and even though, like I've said, I've had my issues with the Christian era, but the acting is still pretty up there. And it's like you listen to them talking about like, we're running away from like a tennis ball on a string, but they do it so well. And like the thing that I love about Matt's Doctor, without any spoilers, is the dichotomy of him and how you can tell that certain aspects of his personality are hiding other aspects of his personality. And it's so, his Doctor I think is very, very, I feel like is one of the more interesting Doctors. Just again, when it comes to the duality of that. But I mean, when I was talking about future plot lines, I wanted to hear your thoughts on River Song.
I want to know. Oh my god! Like, oh my god! I remember when we watched those couple episodes, and I was just like, okay, cool. This is really cool. I need to know now. I need to know. No other character. I'm like, all right, cool. Like their character. River Song. I'm like, I want to know every single freaking thing about you, because like you clearly are like the closest person that the Doctor is gonna get to, and I want to know why she knows his name. I want to know when that happens, and like I told you what I feel like is like the only reason that's gonna happen is when you get to like. When you get to S rank with them, when you get to like marriage level closest with that person, and I feel like that's when. Or I wonder if it's like when you've taken care of the TARDIS for like one time, like if you've flown the TARDIS without me, which I guess you could argue that Donna kind of did that, but like no, he was there with her, yeah, but like maybe at some point he trusts River Song with the whole ass TARDIS and it's just like, I'm gonna go ahead and link this up to you because this is the only way to save this, and and she does it, and like some season without me, and he's just like, my name is and then she's like, okay, great, awesome, because like it's just, but it's also kind of really sad the fact that the episode that you're introduced to her and she kind of like for lack of a better word, she died. And it's just like, does she come back? Does he find a way to bring her back? Because like that'd be really cool. and bring her out of the data suite.
I don't know. Cool. Maybe.
All right, cool. Put that down as a plot thing that I want to have. It's like, all right, cool. The doctor saves her one day, and that's when their companionship.
That's
starts.
when
she forgets everything.
She's just like,
don't let River Song die. I've met her 2 episodes, and I'm like, I love her. I know, and just protect her.
It was. Watching that scene in retrospective is hard. Because you know her whole story, but by the time you get to my point and stuff like that, and you see the adventures that they've gone on and everything like that, and it's just it's I want us to get to the point where we are all caught up with her story, and then go back and watch that episode and get your thoughts on that episode, because it is.
You want to torture me?
I love that entire storyline. But I mean, yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Any questions or hopes for the future?
I think I'm good for right now. I think this was a good start. I enjoyed it. I'd really loved if people commented and message us about it. With their opinions, and so we can
do it.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing that we could do is read comments of oh, this person thought this of Rose's storyline, or this person thought this could be how this the specials could have gone bit better. Send us your whole storybook. We'll tell it to everybody. Right.
So yeah, I mean this was the first, I guess, trial run of something that I hope we do more of, and I would like to do more of. Probably a little bit rough, and it's literally just us sitting at our dinner table with one microphone, one headset, and that's it. But I had fun. This was fun. Yeah. So comment and subscribe as the people.
But also seriously, comment and subscribe.
But I mean, no, seriously, if anybody does listen to this and you want to talk to us about theories and ideas that you had at this point, or your feelings about where we are in the whole Doctor Who trip and series that we're at right now, let us know. Yeah, this is fun. All right, bye guys, I guess.
Bye.